Are you over the age of 45 struggling to drop that body fat? Well, today I want to give you 4 clients that significantly dropped their body fat, improved their health, improved their energy, and overall improved their life. Yes, that's a lot of improvement. Before we hop into that video today, make sure you give this video a like. Make sure you hit that little subscribe button, that little bell next to it, so you can get updated with all the great content that I make specifically for you. Who am I? I'm Brian Stecker. I've owned a gym here in Vancouver, Washington for the past 11 years, and I've also been a personal trainer for the past 20. And I also have an online training program called Boomer Fitness, where I help people improve their health, help them improve their strength, and I help them improve their overall energy. All right, so let's hop right into the video for today. Today I want to talk about 4 clients of mine that have taken their body fats from 30% body fat and brought it down to a healthy range. Now, before that we go into the specifics on how they achieved this, they followed the #1 thing that I believe that's going to help you and help them make the transformation for themselves. And that came down to what I call the 80-20 rule. You know what they say, it's like 20% of what you do is going to get you 80% of the results. Okay, so that 20% for them to make the transformation for themselves came down to having a significant reason why it was important for them to make this transformation. Because what I see with most of my clients when I work with them that have the big transformation versus the clients that don't make the transformation is that the clients that make the big transformation, when they get around week 3, month 2, month 2.5, when they're starting to get bored with the process of making a transformation in their body, or if something happens in their life and comes up, they continually come back to the reasons why that they're making this transformation for themselves. For a lot of my clients, they say to themselves, you know what? They're making this transformation because they don't like the way that they feel. Other clients that they're doing this to improve their health so that they can be around for the loved ones that they have in their life. So before you begin on that journey for yourself, it's really important to sit down and get really clear about why this is important for you. So when you get to week 3 and work wants to take over and they're asking you to do some more tasks, or your family members are saying, hey, you know, I need you to do these things, you got to start saying yes to your goals and go back to the reasons why you started. Because what will happen, and when I do meet with clients that restart their program and I ask them why is it important this time, they inevitably come back and they tell me the reason why they're starting this again. So if you get the reasons why in the beginning, this is going to help you when you get in those moments where you're stuck. You're gonna be like, okay, all right, today I don't want to do it, but you know what? I got to do this because I want to improve my health. I want to do this because I've got a big event coming up and I want to perform my best for it. Other ones are, you know, I just want to have more energy. I'm feeling a little better now, but if I go back, I just don't like that. I've got to fight myself every single day to have energy to get through the day. All right, so there is your #1 thing. Follow the 80-20 method, and then that's going to get you 80% of the results. 20% is, you know, getting that psychological down, and that's going to give you the 80% of the result. Let's go into our very first client here, and on the screen you're going to see a picture of Chad. Chad came to me as a referral, and Chad had lost over 50 pounds with us. The biggest thing when Chad started and he struggled with was he's tried a number of different crash diets. What he found for himself is he ended up getting like this energy drain where he just felt sick, he felt tired, and he actually had to take some time off work, and he realized that wasn't going to be sustainable for himself. The other thing, it left him, you know, really stuck starving. So then he would bounce back and eat things like Snickers bars and go through fast food on a whim because he was starving. So one of the biggest things that we found that helped Chad make a transformation for himself is to find a sustainable nutrition plan. Introduce Chad to his food. So we found a specific calorie target for Chad that worked for him. And then from there, we then got him a list of foods. And he was blown away. He's like, I can eat all these different foods and I can still lose weight? And I was like, yes, absolutely. So what we did is when we looked through this list of foods, said, okay, here are the proteins that you have. Which ones do you like? And he circled the proteins they like. Here are the carbs. And here are the fats. And then the thing that made it really easy for him for the week after that is once we find the calorie targets and the foods that he liked, is he ended up prepping the same meal for every meal for the week. And easy ones for him was like lean ground turkey with taco seasoning with some rice and vegetables, and he had that every single day. And then he would have a protein shake for one of his meals also. And then for another meal, he would have chickens with some vegetables and some potatoes. And he thought potatoes were off limits. But at the end of the day, it came down to him hitting his calorie target and then making sure that he had foods that made him feel full, gave him energy, and that it was sustainable. And by prepping those meals out every single day of the week, he didn't have to think about it. Because one of the challenges I see with people that I work with when they freelance it is they start out with the best intentions on Monday, but then things come up. You know, they got to go run and grab the kids. Next thing you know, they're going through the drive-through, they're ordering food for the kids, and next thing they're eating the food from the kids, and then they throw in the towel for the week because, quote, it wasn't perfect, and then they throw it away. So a real easy strategy that you can use for yourself is just prep all the same meals for the week. The other thing, Chad was overwhelmed with, what do I need to do with my exercise routine? He actually was very scared of the gym when he first started. So what we did is we said, hey Chad, you just got to be more active. And he didn't want to leave his body all beat up. So we just started off with a simple step target every single day. For his job, he's on his feet a lot, he's moving, so that was good. And then the last thing, we did progress check-ins every 2 weeks. And when we did those progress check-ins every 2 weeks, we did it on an in-body scale. And what that in-body scale did is it's not a typical just losing weight, right? The in-body scale would give us a readout of how much body fat he lost, how much muscle that he gained. So for a lot of clients, when they get on the scale, they'll hop on there and they feel like they lost. I see it all the time. And then they feel like they put all this effort forward and then they just want to quit. But when we hopped on this in-body scale, Chad was able to say, oh wow, I am gaining muscle and I'm losing body fat. So the scale may have went down 1 pound, but he had lost 4 pounds of body fat and he ended up gaining 3 pounds of muscle. So he was seeing that his body was improving. The other thing it let us do is he was able to see how his new eating habits and hitting his macros of his protein, his carbs, his fat, eating higher quality foods was fueling his body to make it healthier and stronger. So there is how Chad made his transformation of losing 50 pounds. Let's go into our second client, Cindy. When I met with Cindy, I asked her what her goal was, and her goal was to lose 30 pounds. And she was working out with other coach before, and I was like, hey, I think that's a great goal. I know you can lose that 30 pounds. And you ever have a time where you're talking to somebody and they yeah, they're with you, but let's see it happen. Yeah, sure. That was Cindy. It was like, let's lose the 30 pounds. You can do it. You'll do it. Oh, okay. Okay. But what Cindy quickly found out, it wasn't doing a lot of different things that was going to help Cindy make that transformation. The biggest thing that moved the needle for Cindy is she had an office job, so there wasn't much activity in her day-to-day. So what we did is we set aside some time first thing in the morning, and we set a step goal. And what that step goal did is allow her to expand her calorie deficit every single day by about 300 calories. And if you take that over the course of a week, that's 2,100 calories. After she's burning an extra 2,100 calories, that's like 0.75 pounds of body fat per week just from walking. We then paired that with a sustainable nutrition plan. And she was similar to what Chad did, is she and her husband would prep their meals out for the week so they would have healthy meals. And then Cindy would come into the gym and we put together some total body resistance training where we did this twice a week. The nice thing about doing a total body resistance training program versus other programs is, again, it works your total body, works every major muscle group, but it doesn't leave you feeling destroyed with delayed onset muscle soreness. It actually makes you feel energized and want to come back to the gym and train again. And we did that twice per week for 50 minutes with about six exercises, and we do 2 to 3 sets, and anywhere from sometimes 6 to 8 reps upwards to 12 to 15 reps on these exercises. And every week, it wasn't a brand new workout program. We just tried to get better at those movements every single week. And what ended up happening for Cindy is getting those extra steps in per day, and then managing her food through logging that in MyFitnessPal, and then doing the resistance training. She started to see her body transform and lose those 30 pounds. Next one's Matt. Matt's big transformation came down to accountability and consistency. One of Matt's quotes to me when he first started is he said, hey, he's never missed a business meeting in his entire career, but he's always found a way to miss the gym. So for him, he needed that accountability of having the appointment. So having that appointment made sure that Matt showed up every single week. So for Matt, he ended up losing 80 pounds. And how Matt went about losing 80 pounds, because he hadn't spent a lot of time in the gym for a long period of time. How Matt restarted back in the gym is we initially started with mobility. Okay, we started working on exercises like cat dog, Superman, core work, stretching out the muscles of his upper back, his shoulders. And what that allowed him to do is not feel a lot of strain, a lot of pain in his body when he was exercising. When you're over the age of 50, get this from almost every single client, there's certain areas of your body that give you trouble. For some people, it's their back, some people it's their knees, some people it's their hips, their shoulders. For Matt, is he had some challenges with his shoulders, so we had to find exercises that weren't going to aggravate his shoulders. So when we came into the gym in the beginning, it wasn't, okay, let's do this specific workout program, let's go all out. For Matt, it was, we found the right exercises that worked for him. You know, things like dumbbell rows, supported rows, pull downs, band pull aparts, rope to necks, and doing those type of exercises allowed to take some stress off of his shoulders and the mobility working on his shoulders. We were then able to start incorporating some shoulder movements later into his program. So for somebody in their 50s or having some issues, just starting out with some great mobility to begin with, and then finding exercise that work for you, and just practicing good form and a rep range of anywhere from 10 to 15 reps to start building up that endurance. What that'll end up doing is start building that conditioning up, get your body used to moving like that, start getting your body stronger, and then after about 8 to 12 weeks, when your endurance is starting to kick in, your body's getting stronger, your confidence is going to go up into other movements. And then that usually comes down to helping out in a way where sometimes people, when they give themselves the belief that they're old, you know, their body's stiff, their body's hurting, when in actuality, it's a belief that they're getting older because they're forcing their body into something that it can't do in the current moment, but it can do later, and having a progression to building yourself back up to that. So once we got the mobility program down, the resistance training program down, and finding the movements that worked, all we did is we started to write down what weight did you use, how many reps did you use, and every week we tried to get 1% better. And what does 1% better look like? Okay, let's do one more rep than we did last week. Okay, instead of using the light blue band, let's use the red band, going up in a little bit of resistance there. We could only move through a certain range of motion. We started to be able to expand that to working through the full range of motion. Having that accountability and the consistency over that period of time allowed Matt to lose the 80 pounds. So the next one is Bree, and the biggest thing that helped her make the transformation was she ended up figuring out macros and how to work out in the gym. When I met Bree, she ended up losing 60 pounds over the course of a year of working together. And when I met Bree, she was really struggling with her weight loss journey. She was really trying though. She was putting forth all the effort. When I met with her, very positive, upbeat attitude. I asked her the things that she was doing, and something she was doing that was really well is her work, she'd get a lunch break and she'd grab her headsets and her iPhone and she would go for an hour walk, and she was getting well over 13,000 steps per day. You know, to no avail, she wasn't making any progress. So we had to take a deeper look at what the challenge was for Bree. And the first thing we looked at was nutrition. And kind of similar to Chad, she was trying some different crash diets. She was bringing her calories way too low. So we found out what Bree's daily caloric burn was per day. And actually I had her eat up to that daily caloric burn, and it actually scared her because she thought she was going to gain a bunch of weight because she's going to be eating all this food. So in actuality, it worked the opposite. It gave her the energy to perform better at her job, but also teach her body that she wasn't starving. So her calories were brought up to her daily burn. She was getting her steps in the same every single day. And then the other thing that we found with her nutrition is she liked to enjoy some adult beverages. And that's where the culprit came in outside of the crash dieting and it wasn't like anything serious drinking, but having 2 to 3 drinks a night, your inhibitions start to go down. And the late night munchies kick in where she'd want to have some Taco Bell or have a couple chips, and the chips turn into a pizza. And then as you can see, those calories start to add up very quickly and erase any calorie deficit. So we set a goal, 3-week goal of no alcohol, and said, okay, I'm willing to do that. And the purpose of that was to bring the caloric intake in check and bring the alcohol out of it. And she accepted the challenge full-heartedly. And I said, hey, you can always go back to it. And what she ended up finding is the alcohol was, quote, de-stressor for her, but in actuality, she found didn't give her the stress relief that it really did when she had a good diet, good training. She felt more stress relief from that, but she did enjoy, having a cocktail once in a while. So after the 21 days of not having the drink, she had lost the weight, and then she reintroduced it. And then that's when she really realized that was the gap in the eating. First off, is that she'd get the munchies when she'd want to have a drink. The other thing that she would kind of self-sabotage with herself when she would have a drink is when she would drink, she learned her body would hold on to water for about 3 days. So when she had drinks in the past, she'd gain weight. It would mentally throw her off because she thought like, oh, I'm just going to gain weight. This is going to work anyway. I can't enjoy my life. But in actuality, when she got right back on plan, by the 3rd day, she had lost all that water weight and went there. So we ended up learning to set some limits around it. We had no more than 2 drinks in a sitting and no more than 3 drinks in a week. She measured those out. So that was a big breakthrough for Bree, was finding the right calorie target for her. But on top of that, setting that 21-day goal of limiting her alcohol. And then the last piece for Bree was rebuilding her body. She had never really worked out with resistance training in the past, and it was scary to her. So for Bree, what we started off with, because of the weight that she had on her body, it was hard for her to do some of the exercises. So we started off with body weight exercises, and we were doing 15 to 20 reps in total body routine, 6 to 8 exercises, and we just worked through them at her own pace. And then when 50 minutes were up, we were done. By her doing these routines consistently twice a week for 8 weeks, her endurance built up. She started to add muscle, and then getting her steps in, getting her calories in line. She started losing 2 to 3 pounds every single week while still be able to enjoy her life with having a few drinks every single week. And then after the 8 weeks, we then progressed to, more compound lifts like dumbbell presses, barbell presses, band pull-ups, goblet squats, kettlebell deadlifts, and then getting more into some more of the Olympic lifts. And by the end of it, her confidence was through the roof. She had lost all this weight. She was stronger. She was totally a different person. So there are 4 transformations and how they went from 30% body fat, which is an unhealthy body fat percentage, to a healthy body fat percentage. This allowed them to have more energy, first and foremost. All their health markers have improved. They have more body confidence in themselves. Big takeaways here for you is throw the diets away and find more of a sustainable plan. The right calories, okay, the right macros, the foods you enjoy eating, okay? Stick to that 80% of the time. Exercise, you just gotta get out and you gotta move more, okay? If I were to ask the average person who doesn't work out, and when I meet with them, they're getting about 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. That's hardly moving at all. If you start going for a 30-minute walk, that's gonna be a good start. Twice a week total body resistance training program, that's gonna be helping out. And every single one of them made the breakthrough because they had the accountability. And then the last piece with the accountability, instead of relapsing and going back after 3 weeks, they had a strong, powerful why it was important for them to achieve that fitness goal. If you want help with your fitness goals and you like this video, down in the description and in the comment section, you're gonna see a link, and you can click on that link. That'll schedule a call with me and we can see if I can help you out. Down in the comment section, leave any comments of, if you used any strategies for yourself, which ones you think are gonna help you the most, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.